We're focused today on what we call the Invention Manager. The Invention Manager product from AppCall is the product that you use to manage disclosures. So a brilliant engineer puts a brilliant idea in the system. You manage it through your internal flow, decide what to do with it. That is what we call the Invention Manager. We have another product that is completely complementary to this. They feed each other. We call it the Prosecution Manager. So once you decide to file something, you push it into prosecution, it moves into the Prosecution Manager, and now you're able to see it through its various stages of prosecution, eventually into maintenance and obsolescence. With that, what I'm going to do to show you the product, I'm going to log in as two separate individuals. I'm going to first log in as an inventor. So I'm going to show you what an inventor sees, what they're capable of doing. They have an enormous amount of visibility into what's happening with their stuff. So I'll show you the inventor's view, and then I'm going to log in as you guys and assume you guys are part of the patent committee. You're at the end point. Okay, so two different views. The capabilities are different. So that's what we want to point out to you. All right. So you should see my screen. I'm looking at the AppCall homepage. What I'm going to do is I'm going to log in the old-fashioned way, which is clicking the login button in the upper right. When we engage with a corporation, we typically implement single sign-on with the company. So those options are available. You can do it this way, where an inventor has to remember their credentials, or we can implement single sign-on. Totally up to you. Okay, inventor logs into the system. They're going to see something very similar to this. Now, Alex is a prolific inventor. Every one of the rows in this table represents a disclosure that Alex has put in the system. And this is a summary of the disclosures. So what Alex is looking at here, got an action column, status column. I'm going to come back to those. Tells him what his disclosure is, the title of the disclosure. And notice under inventors, Alex only has access to those disclosures that he's either a part of the team or he's the sole inventor. But Alex does not have access to all disclosures in the system. And that's by design. Now, managers, business unit managers, CEOs, you can determine permissions for each level, but an inventor by default only sees what they put in the system. Now, a lot of information in this table. The actions column. Anytime somebody logs into their system and they see something in the actions column, it's letting them know that they have work to do. So this is a reminder to Alex that in these two instances here, somebody within your internal review process that's had a chance to look at this disclosure has decided it's not ready and has kicked it back. What they did is they clicked their rework button. It sends Alex a note, and it also puts in their table that this has been kicked back for rework. So Alex's job now, rework that disclosure, resubmit it into the flow. In these instances down here, what Alex has done is put his disclosure in the system and just saved it. It's not finished. So this is a reminder that he needs to finish these and submit them into the internal review process. So anytime, this goes for you guys as well, anytime you log in, you have something in the actions column, it's letting you know you have something to do. The status column lets anybody with access to this disclosure, lets them know where it is in your internal flow. Now, there's a lot of statuses here, or stati. You do not have to have lots of statuses. You may have submitted, filed, draft, whatever, only. You don't have to have all of these. It is completely configurable. It's totally up to you. But when the inventor looks at this table, they know exactly where it is within your internal process. All they have to do in order to see where it's been or what still needs to be done is they click the status. So if they click the word submitted, this is the activity log, where it's been. So it's saying that Pat had a chance to look at it way back in 2013. This has been reviewed by all these folks. They've done certain things to it. And then when the inventors want to know what still needs to be done, they just look down below and it lets them know. So full transparency to the inventors. They know exactly what's going on through the entire flow. They don't have to get in touch with you guys every time they need to know. If Alex wants to add a new disclosure to the system, all he has to do is click the add button in the upper left, and what will pop up is your disclosure form. So this is what you've asked Alex to fill in. First thing they're going to do is fill in the title. If there are other inventors involved, they're going to click the add button, and in the search window will be a listing of all your inventors. They're going to assign some attributes to the disclosure. And the importance of assigning these attributes is that when you're sitting in a review, you can find disclosures that are similar. You may want to categorize disclosures, however you want to look at the grouping of disclosures in the system. You can do that by filtering on these attributes. So when the inventor clicks the word add next to each one of these, this is a list of your products and completely modifiable over time. Your product lines will change, obviously, and you can modify this. So they're going to choose one or many. Same thing for technologies. These are your technologies. So just an example. Same thing with keywords. Very common for inventors to want to attach some documents to the disclosure because they may want to preserve some lab notes, maybe some pictures, whatever. So this allows them to drag and drop any kind of document in here, and it's going to stay in the system attached to the disclosure. And then this is what you've asked the inventors to fill in. You said, tell me the problem solved. So they're going to type that in. You said, the next thing I want you to tell me is the existing solution. Do you know of any? They're going to fill that in, and so on. When they finish filling in your form, this is your form. When they finish it, they're going to click the submit button, and that's where it goes into your internal review process. Now, you're just starting out with a process. So yours may be even simpler than this pretty straightforward process. This process says, an inventor's on the left, they click the submit button, it goes to somebody. And this could be a technical expert. It could be just about anybody that you want this to go to. That person reviews it. If they don't like it, they can kick it back for rework. If they do like it and think it's ready, they can click their submit button, and it goes to the patent committee, and the patent committee decides what to do with it. These options on the right, these blue bubbles, are suggestions. You can have as many of these things as you want. This is just an example of 5 different disposition categories you could use. If you decide to file, you'll have a button that says file. You can choose your outside attorney to send it to. Give the attorney some instructions, click the send button. It's going to send them the disclosure, any instructions, any other attachments. And now your outside attorney can start the drafting process. So this is a very simple flow, internal flow. You can make this as complicated as you want. You can add as many bubbles as you want to it. You can eliminate the technical reviewer in the red bubble here, and an inventor can click the submit button, and it goes directly to the patent committee. Completely configurable. It doesn't have to necessarily be, is it patent worthy? It can be a segment in here, an offshoot, a review process where you're determining whether or not it should go to a clinical study or whatever it is. And then it could also be in a parallel path where you're running it through the patent committee. The best thing to do in order to see if this system is capable of doing it is write down your thought similar to this, where you've got it in your head, you just put it down in the form of bubbles. When people click things, who gets what? And then we can see how to implement it essentially, because a lot of this stuff we've done in the past. So it's really getting it to the people that have done it and come back with how we would do it. Once they file them, then they're capable of doing things like this, where you can run all sorts of reports on those disclosures that you've put in the system.